former Finance Secretary of India. Thank you so much, Mr. Garg, for joining us and joining us on WION World is One.
Yes, thank you very much.
Now, of course, to begin with and just to get a sense of where we are right now, I want to first understand what your assessment of these reforms is.
See, there are two parts. One is the reform, the other one is the tax reduction. I think we shouldn't confuse these things.
Right.
So reforms of the rate structure, essentially bringing the earlier 5 effective rates, major 5 effective rates into 3 now. We have 5%, 18% and 40% now. That's reform. If you reduce the rates, the classification disputes come down. The inverted duty structure corrects to some extent. So those are the reforms which are, I think, welcome, and that kind of move is clearly visible is going to be visible in times to come. The big sale from the government with the idea of giving a consumption boost to the economy and to leave more savings in the hands of the consumer is the reduction in GST rates, which has been brought by shifting most of the goods in 12% to 5%, many goods in 18% to 5%, and many 28% to 18% kind of thing. So that is the real. As far as the consumers are concerned, they are concerned more about the reductions. They are not too much worried about what the reforms are. And from that perspective, if you look at it, the Prime Minister said yesterday that 2.5 lakh crore of the savings into the hands of the people, comprising of 1 lakh crore of the income tax reduction, which was given at the time of the budget, and now about 1.5 to 2 lakh crores, the GST reduction, which is being provided. So I think people are interested in that. There are two parties which will share this 2 lakh crores kind of reduction. One is the businessman, the industry. They will retain some part of it, and what they pass it on to the consumers is what the consumers will gain. There is no ready way to do that division at this moment, but roughly, if you take 60% benefits are passed on to the consumers, 40% is retained by the businesses. So still the people will end up getting about 1.2 to 1.3 lakh crores of the benefits. I think that is where it is. So, but the real objective, I think that is where this is a clear arithmetical passing. The government is having less tax receipts. The consumers and the businesses will get to that extent. That is not very difficult to understand in that. But why should the government be giving about 10% of its GST revenues? The idea is to boost consumption. Whether that will have effect on the consumption boost is where, to my mind, there is a lot of doubt. We saw 1 lakh crore of the consumption boost given in the form of the income tax reductions or the raising of the tax exempt income to about 12 lakh crores. That has, by the way, not translated into higher consumption. We have 6 months experience by now. I was looking at the GST data for last three months, which are available, and the growth in GST, which captures the consumption growth, has been only 6.5%. Much less than even the nominal rate of the GST growth or the GDP growth. So whether this will translate, there are certain items definitely, like automobiles, some of the consumer durables, televisions and machines, washing machines and those kind of things, air conditioners. Those would definitely receive some boost. But on the whole, how much the consumption boost would be there, I think jury is still out. I just give this number usually. The private consumption in the country last year was 203 lakh crores. the GST benefit which is being passed on, if we take it at 2 lakh crores, is about 1.5% to little over 1.6% kind of thing of the total consumption. Can this give a big boost to the consumption? There are doubts, and there is also in the wider economy distress in incomes. You're seeing the IT sector and many other sectors sort of not recruiting, not giving higher pay wages and all. That has impact on the consumption propensity of the people. So it's a little complex, and but there is no straight relationship into assuming that there would be a big consumption boost.
Mr. Garg, of course, you've made quite a few pertinent points there, but as you mentioned as well, there are a lot of doubts surrounding this as well. If you were just to break it down into smaller segments, perhaps for better understanding of our viewers as well, if I could just go back to a statement that Warren Buffett also made, that India's EMI generation is celebrating festivals on borrowed money. Let's just take that for example. With the onset of the festive season, are retailers, and in simple terms, if you could break this down for us, are retailers betting on expected surge in spending? Can these lower GST rates boost disposable income for households? Because of course, at the end of the day, the consumer cares about how it translates for them in practical terms.
Very true. You see, this festival season is usually a season where the businesses and the industry offer lots of discounts. They come up with many other promotional schemes as well, sometimes giving gifts, sometimes giving other buy one, take two, that kind of thing. So there are many schemes to promote, and the discounts, of course, that is there. This time, very importantly, since the government has decided to join as literally a partner of the businesses by offering the discount from the government side, so to say,
Okay.
the expectation in the people's mind was that there should be double the kind of discounts which the industry would offer and what the government has offered. Together, if there was that kind of discounts and these schemes on the offer, I don't really see that happening. This time, there's a very curious thing which is happening. The industry is not providing discounts in the festival season. It is the government in discount on the GST, which is being passed on as the discount. This tells me that the businesses are somewhat hard pressed. They have not seen in last 1 year to 2 years hefty growth of the volumes. If you take the stock market data, all the companies in the first quarter also, the turnover increase, the top line increase was only about 7% or 8%. That was much less than the inflation. So the business seems to be stretched. They don't, they want the volumes to pick up, but they are not offering because their margins, their profitability is not that great. And therefore, beyond the GST, I don't think this is what the business enthusiasm is reflected in the kind of
All right.
discounts. The other question which you asked, quoting Buffet about the borrowed money being the source of sort of consumption or purchases, that's also very true in the Indian context. There is a very sharp increase in the bank loans in last 3 years. This year it's getting somewhat subdued, but still it is 10% plus, higher than the GDP growth rate. So there's been a very large increase in the borrowings by the households. Households' balance sheets are affected. So it may, in a way, have a very different kind of effect that the tax savings which the people are going to make, instead of increasing their consumption elsewhere, or upgrading the items by buying higher priced goods, they may as well decide to save this and pay off their loans or reduce their loans. That's a very, saner kind of choice which the consumers may make. And if many of them, as it appears, are with the stretched balance sheets, their personal balance sheets, loans are high, if they do it, then the consumption effect, which is even equal to the tax giveaways, may not arise.
Well, Mr. Garg, thank you so much for your insights on this. Of course, as you mentioned, there are some doubts which hopefully will be cleared in the days to come. Thank you so much for your time, sir. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.